Just because pettiness is not confrontational doesn't mean it's not harmless. You're just trying to avoid the confrontation while still trying to have the last laugh. Hi everyone, my name is Gigi and welcome back to my channel. We've all been there. We've all gone through a breakup, friendship falling out, bullying situation, just someone doing something that you don't like, saying something that you don't like. And in return, you're petty. You want to get back at them in some way. You want them to feel the same way you did. And to do that, the pettiness comes out. But being petty isn't doing what you think it is. And in fact, it's harming you a lot more than it is to the other person. And it's actually what's holding you back. So in today's video, I want to talk about what pettiness looks like and how to stop being petty to benefit yourself. Now, I'm in no way trying to call you out because I was a very petty person. I experienced this myself. In fact, my go-to defense mechanism was being petty. You could say I was the queen of being petty because for me, that was the best way to get back at someone. That was the way people knew they had done me wrong. Because I wasn't the fighting type. I actually hated conflict. So the idea of fighting physically with someone or verbally with someone, yelling at someone, that wasn't my style. So pettiness was where it was at with me. Because pettiness, it's not fighting. It's not being loud and posting stuff all over online with people's names dragged in, all of their personal details. It's incredibly subtle. And it's often disguised as looking like you're completely unbothered when actually whatever has happened is eating you inside. It looks like ignoring someone. Disguised as you're over it, it doesn't bother you, but actually it's a direct target to annoy the person that's done you wrong. You feel ignoring them will get a reaction out of them. It'll make them feel bad. You want them to notice that they've done something wrong, and that's the reason you're ignoring everything. It looks like posting something online. Indirect. It doesn't mention their name. It doesn't mention necessarily anything about them, but it's aimed at them. It contains details of the situation, just enough so that they know it's about them, and you're hoping they'll see it and react to it in some way, that they'll feel something by seeing that post. It's being very cold with that person, very passive-aggressive, without actually confronting them and telling them how you feel. And it's doing something not because you actually want to, but because you want to prove a point. It's exactly the same thing as this person said I could never do this, so I'm going to do this. Just because pettiness is not confrontational doesn't mean it's not harmless. If you think about it, it's still reacting. Your emotions are still involved, their emotions are still involved. You're trying to get back at them in some way. You're trying to make them feel bad, provoke them even. You're just trying to avoid the confrontation while still trying to have the last laugh. That's why it's emotional. But that exact behavior, the behavior of not wanting to be confrontational, but still wanting to have the last laugh, still wanting to hurt the person back, is why you're stuck. It's why you can't move on from a situation, why it's constantly playing in your head. You might think you're doing a really great job at seeming unbothered, but the reason you're posting things, the reason you're ignoring messages, the reason you're putting yourself in situations that still involve that person whilst trying to seem cool and like you're not bothered, is the exact reason why you're not moving on. Because number one, even if you don't want to admit it, it's emotionally immature. If you're pretending you're not bothered, you're not addressing the actual issue, that issue will never be solved. Your true feelings will never be understood. And that person will be in the dark. If you don't communicate how you feel, you can't process how you feel. If you can't process how you feel, nothing will change. Nothing will change. You will continue to get triggered. You will continue to react to that person, because they will react to you. It's like a massive loop of just misunderstandings and emotions going round and round because nothing has been talked about. You're being avoidant, trying to seem unbothered. They're seeing your posts, seeing you act cold, seeing you clearly bothered but not wanting to talk about it. You can only move on from a situation if you've directly faced it, and if you're being petty, that's not facing it at all, that's avoiding it. Secondly, it damages your relationships. If we're talking about something has happened within a friendship or with your partner or with a family member, and you're sitting there being petty, you're ignoring them, you're giving them one-worded answers, you're clearly annoyed at what they've done, but you're not saying it, you're avoiding them, you're talking to someone else to talk to them because you don't want to talk to them, you're posting things online directly targeted towards them, they're going to react to that. Whether they react to it the same way you do with pettiness and start doing the exact same things back, or whether they're more loud with it, they confront you, they want to know why you're doing these things. It's going to damage that trust that they have with you and that you have with them. Because again, nothing is being addressed. Feelings are not being put out there to be understood. And because of that, nothing is being solved. A lot of friendships die with pettiness. A lot of relationships in general die with pettiness. Because pettiness lacks communication. And I will always say this, but relationships can only be strong and real relationships if you communicate. Thirdly, it lowers your self-respect. When you're directly not facing your own emotions, you're shoving them to the side and letting yourself be re-triggered and re-triggered. That is not respecting your mindset. That is not respecting who you are. You cannot trust yourself if you're constantly allowing yourself not to deal with your own emotions, to allow yourself to be triggered over and over again. And pettiness is an act of your ego. And allowing your ego to take control of all of your actions, how you feel about something, that is not aligned with the better version of yourself. It's not aligned with the better version of who you want to be and how that person would react to the same situation. So it might feel great that you're getting back at them. You're posting something, but it's not directly saying it's them. You're ignoring them, so they're gonna reach out to you and they're gonna be the one begging for you back. But would your better version of yourself do that? No, right? Because that better version of yourself would have communicated, talked about why you're upset, come to an understanding, or agreed to disagree. Took yourself away from that situation instead, rather than staying and allowing yourself to be re-triggered. And lastly, you reacting that way the same time over and over someone does something is going to keep you acting that way. It's going to keep you feeling that way. Because the same reactions keep you in the same mindset, in the same cycle. Your brain is building the pattern that if I do this, this is what will happen. And once you've built that pattern, it will become your go-to. This person has done this bad thing to me, so I'm going to ignore them. This person has said this about me, so I'm going to post something online. You're going to have the same type of arguments over and over again, the same type of misunderstandings over and over again. And you're going to feel the same way over and over again because you're reacting the same way. And the reasons we're petty is because we're hurt. And when we're hurt, our egos tend to jump out. When you feel rejected or hurt by something, or when we feel underappreciated or disrespected, our ego is the first thing that wants to jump out because our ego, for a lot of us, is a defense mechanism. It's a way of protecting ourselves. This doesn't hurt us, we're better than that. This doesn't make us feel disrespected, we're better than that. How could you do this to me? So I'm going to make you feel the same way I did. It also could be the need for control. If something doesn't go the way that you want, if something goes off track to how you thought in your head something was going to go, your brain is going to seek control in a different way. By acting distant and ignoring them, posting things on social media, it's all small little ways that you're trying to gain control of the situation again. Like the power is now in your hands because it was took away from you. It could also be the fear of being vulnerable. A lot of people don't want to feel vulnerable around other people, especially if those other people are close to them or someone they admire or a bully. It's a lot more difficult to sit down with someone and trying to explain your feelings rather than just going cold with them, ignoring them, posting a few things on social media. It feels safer that way. It feels safer to simply not talk about your feelings, not get deeper with that person and explain why you're hurt. Because revealing someone has hurt you, something they've done or said has hurt you, is very vulnerable. It's exposing yourself to that person. And you feel like it's easier to just ignore it, then face your emotions and use it in a mature way. And this next one is a big one, but pettiness has been normalized. You see it all over social media, your friends will encourage it, but it is being taught that the way to get back at people is to do the exact thing they did to you. Rather than just sitting down and having a normal conversation, it's easier to post online, drag the dirt into the internet. Your friends will encourage you not to reply for a certain amount of hours. They'll say to just block you without even explaining why. So how do you stop being petty so that you can move on. Because at the end of the day, this is about you and how you should be feeling after a situation. First things first, you're going to call yourself out. I say this a lot, but especially in this situation, you have to call yourself out. You have to actively stop yourself from doing it before you do it. Because that awareness you're about to do something you shouldn't, is what's going to break that cycle. That cycle that keeps repeating of you reacting the same way. When you feel yourself about to immediately block them so you never speak to them again, stop yourself for a second. Understand why you feel that way. And maybe instead think about sending them a message explaining why you want to distance yourself. When you're about to hit post on that story or that TikTok directed towards them indirectly, ask yourself, why are you doing that instead of just leaving it alone? What's fueling you to post that post? You'll realize the more you question yourself, the sillier your actions seem. I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you won't continue to go through with those actions because you'll realize that's not what's best aligned with you. You're not doing what makes you feel good, you're doing something to get back at them. The second thing is to ask yourself, how do you actually feel? In that exact moment when something has triggered you, what do you feel? Because it won't be pettiness you feel. Pettiness isn't a feeling. Ask yourself, why am I reacting like this? Why do I feel the need to post something or do this or do that to get back at them? And ask yourself what you need to do instead. How will I actually feel better? Why do I feel rejection from this action? Why has this thing made me feel insecure? Dig deeper, because I guarantee you, again, it will stop you from doing whatever petty action you were going to do, which will stop you going into that loop, re-triggering yourself, re-triggering that person, getting into the same arguments, and it'll actually help you heal because you're understanding, first of all, what the issue is, why you're feeling what you're feeling, and also how to heal from that because you understand it. The third thing is to say it. Be direct instead of indirect. If something has hurt you, say it to that person. This thing you did has hurt me. Especially when it's your friend or your partner, half the time they don't even realize what they've done hurt you or made you feel a different way. It could have been a simple joke, a comment they didn't think about, and suddenly you're being cold with them, you're posting things on social media about them, whatever. Instead, sit down with them and tell them exactly what they did and how it made you feel. Tell them you don't like how that felt. That upset you. That situation didn't make you comfortable. If you need to get deeper, get deeper. Being able to communicate your emotions is such an amazing skill, and you'll be amazed at how many situations you can avoid, bad situations you can avoid, just by explaining yourself, just by telling someone they hurt you. The fourth thing is to let go at the getting even mindset. This is a very childlike mindset. The idea that someone has done something bad to you, so you deserve to get back at them. But what a lot of people don't realize is that that little short-term boost of confidence that you get from getting back at them, that little happiness boost that you get from getting back at them, doesn't last. And those actions are not aligned with who you are. If someone does something horrible to you and then you do something horrible back, that makes you just as bad as they are, if not worse, because you've done it purposely. Revenge does not create peace. Temporarily, you might feel like it has, but long term, you're just recreating the same patterns as the person that you don't want to be like, which makes you that type of person. And that is not the better version of yourself. And lastly, whatever you do in a situation that you feel like your emotions are being triggered, allow yourself to pause. Wait 5 seconds, a minute, whatever you need, and pause. Pettiness is very impulsive. It's almost the first thing that wants to come out of you when something happens. The same as crying and anger, getting aggressive when someone has made you mad. But if you are able to train yourself to take 30 seconds, a minute, take yourself away physically from a situation and come back when you're ready if you need to give yourself that time to think rather than just react. How many times have you yelled at a person straight after they've done something and then regretted it because you feel bad afterwards? That is because your emotions have reacted first before you've had time to actually think about it. So you need to train yourself to think first. Stop, take a minute, have a deep breath, and truly feel, what do I need to do? What would make this situation better? And then do it, rather than immediately getting angry, immediately being petty, immediately lashing out. Healing comes from immediately addressing the issue, processing it, and understanding why you feel a certain way. Not pretending it didn't happen, ignoring it, or doing things out of pettiness. So if your go-to is to be petty because it makes you feel better, it makes you feel like you're getting even at them for whatever reason, it's time to stop. Because to be the better version of yourself, you have to do the actions that are aligned with the better version of yourself. That's all from me today. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to comment down below and I will try and get back to every single comment. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Bye.